One of the funnest things about being a pro wrestling fan is that everything to us is a work, right? We have trust issues. We grew up seeing too many heel turns, too many plot twists in storylines. We're not believing it. Everything is a work. Everything is part of a story. But some of the best stories in pro wrestling are always those that blur the lines, right? You truly don't know which parts and aspects of that story is a work and what is very real, which is helping to make the work work. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, may have, if not already, they will soon catapult their situation to the top of the pro wrestling world in terms of being captivated by a storyline, being captivated by a situation in pro wrestling at another level. I say already because whether WWE has plans already in motion for Rollins and Punk or not, the fans, we are already firmly behind that match. Wherever the venue may be, whatever the date may be, Rollins and Punk has to happen. And Rollins knows it. Rollins is now opening up fully about how he feels today about CM Punk. And it's up to you guys to decipher what is all a work and which parts are very, very real. Because I don't want to jump too much into the history. You guys have to, it will take a while. But when Punk left, yes, he shit on WWE, he shit on the business, and he said some sly remarks on Seth Rollins that Rollins to this day is not happy about. So Rollins retaliated, and over the last nearly decade has told you how he felt about Phillip Brooks. So then you go to Survivor Series, Punk comes back, and you get that reaction by Rollins. The Meltzers in the community say, well, they were privy to knowing Punk was coming out moments before their match. So they were giving a heads up, it was just really late. Rollins is saying, no, that was genuine. I knew nothing about it. Had I known, things would have been different maybe. So it's all about who you believe in that situation. But that's just some of the history. It would take another couple of hours, 2-3 hours to really go through the history of Punk and Rollins and how they've helped one another and have tried to throw daggers at one another. But I want to get to this recent interview by Rollins because Sethington is opening up big time, and it's fun because we don't know which parts are part of this work, what Punk knows about, if any. Is all of this just Seth Rollins being very real, knowing it's going to be a work, knowing that they are going to wrestle one another, but in the meantime, he's going to continue to tell you exactly how he feels about Punk, the same way he would tell him to his face. You guys decide. I'll read it to you. This is recent, over the last 24 hours, this interview with Sports Illustrated. Rollins says, and I quote, "A lot of it's personal. A lot of it's stuff that I don't really want to get into, for the most part. I just think he's been really selfish when it comes to his perspective on the industry. I think he's been extremely self-serving, and he's played the martyr role to a T. Look, I got a lot of good things to say about parts of my relationship with him. He helped me in places when he didn't have to. Whether that was for his own good or not, I'm not entirely sure. But regardless, it helped me get to where I needed to go and do the things that I needed to do. But for a guy who, when I met him, made it seem like he was all about giving back to the business, he really turned into a pretty selfish guy and really wanted to take more from the industry." Rollins goes on to say, "He said some really bad things about me, talked down about me for years, and the company for years. I'm talking some really bad stuff. He called me a bootlicker and crap like that. You don't know me. You don't know what I stand for. I'm a loyal person, and I just felt pretty insulted by a lot of the ways he treated me. treated the place that I work for, treated friends that I worked with. I don't need to get into any of all of that stuff with Colt Cabana. If you want to go and look at that kind of stuff, that's out there. I mean, he brought up Colt Cabana. You got to know that's not company approved. That's just coming right off the cuff. That's coming right from Rollins at this. That's what I mean. At this point, this is, I mean, are they even in a story right now for the company? Or is this just Punk knowing it's going to turn into that, Seth knowing it's going to turn into that? But for the time being, Seth is just going to tell you exactly what he's been saying for years, which to his credit, he's been saying this for years. But to bring up Colt Cabana, that was a lot of money by WWE that they had to get into lawsuits for because, of course, their doctors were called out. So I'm pretty sure you don't want your wrestlers telling fans to go back and listen to that podcast that cost everybody a lot of money. Wild. So again, Rollins says, I don't need to get into any of that stuff with Colt Cabana. If you want to go and look at that kind of stuff, that's out there. Rollins goes on to say about Punk, just the way that he treated people, the way I felt like he was only looking out for himself. Then the way he talked down about me and my friends and the people who are here, putting in the hard work in WWE, trying to make this thing as good as we possibly could because we love the industry. Truly love it. Not just what it can do for us. We actually love it. We want to give back to it, and we want to make it the best it can possibly be. And I always just felt like he was a fraud in that sense. Or at least he turned into a fraud at some point in the last decade. That's the long end of it. It's a deep, deep rooted, I wouldn't call it a hatred, but a certain animosity. There's an animosity there, no doubt about it. And again, he did confirm that he didn't know that Punk was coming out. That was one of the WWE's little nuggets at the very tail end. Like, just go to the top of the ramp. Your music will play and we'll go off the air. A lot of people say no, they knew about it, BC. That was part of the work. Possibly. Absolutely possibly. The latest word we got was not everybody in that main event knew, so we don't know which ones knew. But then there's those reports that say, no, nobody knew. This was just one of those Vince McMahon, Paul Levesque McMahon type things where they just like to screw with people or just do something for their entertainment. They've done it for years, right? Remember when Jim Ross got traded to SmackDown? I think he was on Raw commentary and they were doing the draft. And Ross got drafted to SmackDown. His image is up there. They announce it and Ross knew nothing about it. He was pissed live on air. I remember The Undertaker. I forgot if this was live event or no, this was maybe TV. They tried to break The Undertaker, and they had characters go out there and wrestlers go out there, and they tried to make The Undertaker laugh to break character. Obviously, that's not good for the fans if The Undertaker is breaking character. No, that was for their own laughter, for their own entertainment. So could they have just said, you know what, Punk, let's put this on the air last second? You know, the report said that Punk was backstage just a few minutes before he came out. He was in Gorilla and seeing wrestlers and whatnot. So nobody in the ring would know at that point. So whether they knew or not, Rollins, what made it very real at Survivor Series, his reaction was that Michael Cole and Corey Graves were just standing by his side, and it wasn't over animated, right? They weren't like holding him back, right? So there was parts where like referees and shit were just being like, no, dude, stay. But Michael Cole and Graves were just kind of chilling. And in real life, that's what would happen if one of your boys was like heated, right? You give him some space, but you're there, right? Just in case he does something wild, you can get to him first. And Graves, of course, used to be really good friends with Punk. And of course, Graves ended up saying the same things as Rollins about Punk, about the selfishness and about how he changed. And he started just downgrading the business and shitting on it. And this is just not the Punk that Graves once knew. So Graves opened up about Punk over the years. Now, Graves being there with Rollins and just kind of just being in the middle, just being there, but not really doing anything. It really made you think like, wow, this like seems pretty damn real. And then you had Judgment Day, who were supposed to be the heels that just got beated at Survivor Series War Games. So until you're off the air, you're supposed to just play dead, right? That's what the heels do. You lost, you're kind of on the outside, you're playing like it's a movie, and you're playing dead for an hour. Just lay down until the referee tells you we're off the air, you can get up. You can go to the back, hit the showers. Judgment Day was standing right there with the faces. Rhea Ripley is just kind of smirking with, you just went to war. It was called War Games. And all the heels are chilling with the faces, just waiting. Randy Orton's having fun with it. Maybe a little pissed off too. He wants to hit the showers and get the last hour of room service at the hotel. But Randy Orton just grabbed a chair, sits down, and they're having some fun. But Orton's like, yeah, clobbering. It's also last call for room service. So Orton sits down because they're playing the whole Cult of Personality theme song. So Orton's like, what are we doing? Nobody was playing this like, oh, we're all shocked. And what does it mean? Everybody was just doing their own thing. So that leads me to believe, like, if they were told beforehand, wouldn't you tell them to act a certain way? Or would you say, well, BC, no, they just told them act normally and this is how they would act. Well, that's not good for business. You went to War Games and the heels are just there with the faces, just kind of chilling. Dude, what you been up to? I just went to war with you guys, actually. Oh, man, that's right. That was you guys? Believe this, man? Punk's back. Wow. Right, it's almost like everybody was just shocked, and hey, if you're going to shock us like that and not give us a heads up, you're going to get this type of a reaction. We're not going to play by the storyline. We're not going to make it. We're not going to sell for CM Punk. It just makes you think, man. You want to believe that all this is just kind of plotted in a story, but there is so much real behind it. So with these situations, you're getting a lot of real. But as wrestling fans, we just say it's all a work because that's what we're used to. We don't trust anything. We don't trust anybody. We're wrestling fans. So it's all a work. But don't forget, situations like these, they come around once in a while, right? Once in a blue moon. Very few and far in between, but they do come around. We've never seen one to the likes of this yet. We were hoping in All Elite Wrestling maybe they could turn Hangman Page and CM Punk's real beef into something that could be profitable in a very kick-ass storyline in AEW. They weren't able to do that, unfortunately. But with Rollins and Punk, you can do that because check this out. This is a quote from Seth Rollins, guys, about working with Punk. And this is why I say, man, all of this seems so real because he's talking about business. Eventually, it'll lead to business in a storyline. You don't just say that if you're trying to work. Listen to this. Rollins says, and I quote, I assume it's only a matter of time. Whatever venue it is, I don't know. That's not my decision to make. I just show up and I do the work. It is what it is. You don't like everybody you work with. I certainly haven't liked everybody that I've been in the ring with over the past several years, but I've always found a way to make magic out of it. If it is Seth Rollins versus CM Punk somewhere down the road, one way or another, it's going to be magic. Magic indeed. So, I mean, he's breaking down the fourth wall, and he's just talking about doing a story with them, working. Whatever venue it is, the company's going to make that decision. Right? You wouldn't say things like that or the Cabana thing. Or you say, BC, that's exactly what you're going to say if you're trying to work your audience. I don't know if you would talk about doing business with him in a storyline if you're really trying to make it very real. I don't know, man. I'm saying there's real animosity there. That's obvious, right? So for really smart fans, you have to know, like, a lot of this work isn't so much a work. We're just hoping that it all becomes a packaged Christmas present work, right? With a bow on it. Maybe a cute little ribbon. And all of us will be presented with a badass gift thanks to WWE and provided by CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Hopefully that'll work. He's being drafted to Raw because they need that new Raw deal, that TV deal, that I told you guys, nobody wants to give them what Nicholas Khan is asking for because the ratings aren't there. The ratings went down another 300,000 viewers from last week's post-Survivor Series War Games, post-CM Punk re-debut in WWE comeback, and Randy Orton's comeback. So it went up nearly 400,000 viewers from the week previous last week. It went up to a 1.8 plus. This week, it barely got over 1.5. It lost 300,000 plus viewers. And it's only a matter of time before it drops back to 1-4 and even 1-3. That's not Monday Night Football. This was the Jaguars and the Bengals. Let's relax. Decent game, by the way. It ended up being pretty close, but it's the Bengals-Jaguars. So to get a 1-5 surrounding all of what you just had after Survivor Series, obviously that's not good. And it's not a shocker that WWE cannot get what they're asking for with the new WWE TV rights deal. So you're going to bring in Punk. You're going to hope that the ratings will spike a little bit. You're going to hope that who you're doing business with and is going to offer you a shit ton of money is going to give you the best price imaginable, the best amount of revenue into your pockets, and CM Punk is going to help that. And whether he gets along with Rollins or vice versa or not, that you're going to have to deal with, right? That's why Punk's going to Raw anyway. But Rollins is right. At this point, there's no turning back. Whether you like it or not, whether this has all been a work, some of it's been a work, none of it's been a work. It better turn into one, because this is one of the most heated, greatest stories in pro wrestling right now. Rollins and Punk. Whether they know it or not, whether they like it or not. And I'm talking about the company and the individuals. Rollins is opening up big time about Punk. It'll be interesting to see if Punk says anything back. I truly believe that if Punk starts to retaliate back to Rollins, we can start to think this is turning into more of a full work. If Punk continues to not say much, this tells me there's a lot more reality into it, because Punk wouldn't serve Punk well at all. It wouldn't fit into Punk's new character in WWE. I've changed. I'm a different person. I love you guys, and I'm ready to show you I'm the best in the world still. And then right before Raw went off the air, he says, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money, so that contradicted it, but we're willing to forget that. I truly believe too much time was left. Everybody said that the Randy Orton match took too much time, so Punk's promo was cut short. I think there was too much time. I think Punk was always supposed to just say, what's up, everybody? I'm back. I'm the best in the world. Everybody loves me, except for one person. Of course, that's Rollins, but he didn't say him by name. And that's it. But there was still 30 seconds left, so he's looking at a camera. He doesn't have anything left to say, so he goes back to one of his old lines. Kind of contradicts what he was supposed to say, but I'm willing to let that slide. So that's it, guys. That is huge. We'll see what that all turns into. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, badass, man. Rollins is not holding back. It makes it fun. It makes it fun when you got somebody who knows that this person's coming over to the roster, and you're not gonna hold back, because you could turn this into a lot of money in the future. Now, maybe Rollins literally just doesn't want to work with this dude and is hoping that it's far away when he has to work with Punk, or maybe he's going to cash in soon. And then again, I always ask, do you have Punk defeat Rollins? Would Rollins do the deed for Punk? He's shown you in the past he's willing to do business, whatever it is. He has lost to Cody Rhodes on the grandest stage. This dude just comes from AEW, shows up on the grandest stage of them all when Rollins has been putting in all the work for WWE, and he lays on the back and he looks up at the lights. And then he does it for several more pay-per-views after that to Cody Rhodes. And he's done it many times. Is it right? Is it the right thing to do to lay on your back, look up at the lights for Punk to take your title? Is that the right call? On the flip side, should Rollins be beating Punk? And you got to believe this is going to be done for WrestleMania. That's where the money's at. A lot of questions. I guess that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing to have. A lot of questions that actually pique our interest, that we're into. Pretty dang cool. There's probably going to be several other uploads today, guys. I got some other things I want to talk about. If I have the time, that's going to go up later. And this might be one of those situations where the SmackDown review will be up tonight, possibly. Not tomorrow, because I have a lot of travel. So I might have to cut that review immediately after SmackDown tonight. And that's going to be the return of CM Punk to the Blue Brand. He's going to be on the Tribute to the Troop show tonight. So they're promoting this big tag match with L.A. Knight, and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline. That's the main event of tonight. CM Punk will most likely close or open the show. And then we'll see what they have in the middle. Obviously, the ladies and Damage Control will be a big part of that. Hopefully, Io Shirai, Io Sky. We'll see. So I'll have more of a full SmackDown preview for you in the upload that's going to be up in a few hours. That's what I got for you guys, man. Hopefully you guys continue to whoop that Friday ass. And until next time, there will be that next time. Top guys, we are out. Current situation. Check you. Peace.